So this story that seems to be so alluring to people out there in some places is a part of a 30-year battle of ideas we've had. 30 years ago, the Republican Party took a dramatic turn away from traditional conservatism. Before then, they had been part of an effort to build a bipartisan, constructive consensus in America. And they argued that, hey, the government shouldn't do anything the private sector can do. And if the government has to do it, the local or state government should do it before the federal government steps in. And in any case, we ought to pay for whatever we do with a balanced budget unless there's a severe recession and we have to pump up the economy. That led President Eisenhower to sign the Interstate Highway Bill. It led President Nixon to sign the Occupational Safety and Health Act and the Environmental Protection Act. Two things that the Republicans would think were unthinkable today. Because for 30 years they've been telling us that every problem that we have in America is the fault of the government. The government would mess up a two-car parade. And the solution to every problem is to make sure there are no taxes, no regulations, and no responsibilities on the wealthiest individuals and special interests in this country. That's what they always say. So, you know when Sarah Palin, don't boo. We don't have time. We don't have time. I want you to, every now and then you got to admit, she gets off pretty good lines. So the other day, she got a big laugh when she said, how's that hope and change it thing working for you now? What I want you to think about is something way more important. How's that trickle down thing work for you?
Really?
You got to see this race for what it is. This is a battleground for what the Lehigh Valley will look like and what America will look like. And whether you buy this, we'll get to the particulars in a minute. But look, before they did that, they've been very successful electorally because they promised the middle class crumbs off the table and give the rest to people like me. I love saying this. I never had a nickel that left the White House. I love saying it. But let's look how it works. From the end of World War II till 1980, the bottom 90% of us, that is all but the top 10%, had a consistent 64 to 65% of America's income. The top 1% had 9%. It was a level of inequality we could deal with because wages were rising, families were growing, poverty was decreasing. You could work your way from poverty into the middle class, you could educate your kids, they could do better. The American dream was alive and well. They have had the White House 20 of the last 28 years before the 2008 election. 8 years when I was there, 20 years when they were. In that time, the bottom 90% share of national income has gone from 65% down to 52%. The top 1% has gone from 9% up to 22%. That's the facts. This has been a remarkably fact-free election in a lot of places.